Hi guys, and before I move on to the subject of this video, I'd just like to mention that where I'm recording this audio, I'm recording in basically the middle of the forest, because if I go and record it inside my house, and because I have a little brother and sister and they want to come in and try to listen, then they'll destroy my confidence. So I just decided to do it outside, so if you hear a river or any wind or anything, I'm sorry about that. But anyway, let's just get straight to the hard drives and solid state drives. So you should know what a hard drive does. It basically just stores all your videos, music and all your other programs, and that's the way you access it, which is from the hard drive. And it's similar with an SSD, except, oh yeah, also I'd like to say, in the last video I kept saying SSD drive, and it actually makes no sense, because if I was saying SSD drive, it would mean solid state drive. So yeah, sorry about the last video. And also I noticed the audio was really loud in the last video. I was just a bit worried about the music overtaking my voice and you might not be able to hear my voice. And also there was these weird clicking sounds when I was explaining what manufacturer to buy the RAM from, and it was going like ch. I'm sorry about that if it bothered you, but anyway, everybody knows what a hard drive is. It just basically stores all the information from your computer onto it. But anyway, the main part of this video was I was going to explain the difference between a hard drive and a solid state drive, just because some people don't get the difference, besides that they think that solid state drive is a bit faster. So I'll just get straight to that. I might as well start with what's better about the hard drive compared to the SSD drive. And SSD. There's only really two things that are better about hard drives. One reason is that they're way cheaper, so you can buy, I think it's $1.50 per gigabyte for SSD, and it's 75 cents per gigabyte for a hard drive. And the next reason is because you can't really, with SSDs you can only really get, I think, up to 350 gigabytes. I don't think you can get much higher than that. But with hard drives, I know it can go up to 4 terabytes, but I'm pretty sure there would be some 5 terabyte ones out by now. So those are the only two basic advantages to having a hard drive compared to an SSD. So now I just say what's better about an SSD compared to a hard drive. The first thing is that SSD drives almost always have a less power draw than hard drives do. And I said SSD drive again, I'm sorry. So I'll just say solid state drive for now. So solid state drives have less power draw than a hard drive. So hard drives draw about 6 to 7 watts, compared on what manufacturer buy the hard drive from, and the SSD only drains about 2 to 3 watts. So it'll probably save you about, it says it's over 30 minutes more if you buy an SSD drive. That's if you're using a laptop, of course, and it'll probably save your power bill a lot. If you play games a lot, it'll save a lot of money on power. So yeah. Another good thing about SSDs is that it boots up almost half the time as a hard drive does compared to a solid state drive. And another good reason why I like solid state drives is because since there's no moving parts in the actual solid state drive and there isn't a hard drive, then if you put a laptop down too hard or drop something with an hard drive in it, then it'll probably stuff up the hard drive and that'll wreck your system. But if you have a solid state drive and you drop it too hard, there's nothing that can really be damaged much. And also, along with that, it obviously makes less, no noise basically, because there's no moving parts in the solid state drive. And also with some hard drives you can get vibration when this is more with laptops, you get vibration when you use hard drives, but if you use solid state drives there's no vibration at all. And a great thing about solid state drives is that since there's no moving parts in it, it doesn't actually produce basically no heat. So if you're using a laptop or desktop loads, or you're using it for games, it's not gonna produce much heat, and that also means that your hard drive or your whole system basically lasts a lot longer. Well, not a lot longer. So like I read that a hard drive has about 1.5 million hours before it fails, and a solid state drive has about over 2 million hours before it fails. So that's basically, it's mostly because of there's not as much heat draw coming from it, yeah. And obviously, like I mentioned at the start of the video, especially with like the Battlefield 3 or Call of Duty map usually takes about a minute to load, or probably above a minute depending on how good your hard drive is, but a solid state drive, it only takes like 10 to 15 seconds depending on how much that solid state drive costs you. It loads up things ridiculously fast, and if you're using like a video editing program or something like that, it's going to really, or how should I say, it'll really make it faster basically. It'll be able to process things a lot faster than it would if you were using a hard drive. And like last time I said, using RAM, if you have a hard drive, is always good, because if you got a hard drive and 1 gig of RAM, you're not really going to be processing much. But if you have a solid state drive and 1 gig of RAM, it's going to make a hell of a lot of difference when processing videos. But I'm not saying to use 1 gig of RAM, it's just use at least 2 gigs of RAM. So yeah, that's about all I have to mention as far as hard drive and solid state drives go. But yeah, also check out my previous video on the RAM, and also I'd just like to, I said it at the start of the video about the wind has gotten up quite a bit and the river's getting pretty loud, so I try to like raise the volume of my audio and make sure it's not too loud this time, because it was really deafening last time. Sorry about that. But next time we'll be doing let me just think, probably I won't do the graphics card yet, I'll do the CPU, I'll do the central processing unit in the next episode, which should be up next week, around about next week anyway. So see you guys, please subscribe for weekly content, and see you later.